Trucking has always had its ups and downs through the years. It's always been like that. It will continue to be like that. But 2023 is turning out to be a particularly tough year in trucking. 2023 may be one of those years when you want to give the truck back. This video is sponsored by Lanefinder. 2023 is turning out to be the perfect storm in trucking. The fuel prices are still far too high. They've come down a little, but they're still way too high. The freight rate is in the dumpster. The cost of a new truck, the payments, far too high. The cost of maintaining the truck, again, far too high, particularly with breakdowns in the emissions equipment. Owning a new truck these days is very expensive. The cost of tires even is through the roof, and if you can even find the ones you need. And all of these factors are beyond the control of the owner-operator. Owner-operators and lease operators, many of them have already depleted the funds that they may have had in savings just trying to survive up until this point. And now the fact is, we now know that the last half of 2023 isn't going to be any better. And it may be time to seriously look back and think about giving the truck back if you have big payments on it. Now, owner-operators with their own trucks, older trucks that are paid for, it may be a good year to think about putting it up against the fence and just finding work as a company driver, because it makes no sense just to run your truck and work it to death for a break even. There's no sense in that. So it might be a good time to park the truck that you own and go work for a good carrier. They're always looking. As far as owner-operators and lease operators, if you've got high payments, things are not looking good in the near future, up until the end of the year, in fact. So it might be time to consider giving the truck back to the carrier or to the bank. This year is the ideal time to investigate Lanefinder. Lanefinder is the ultimate job platform to help drivers get the jobs that they want. There are filters on the platform that help drivers sort through information. They can find out about the carrier, about the fleet size, where they run, what kind of trucks they run, all sorts of information without having to talk to a recruiter. I highly recommend Lanefinder for drivers searching for the best jobs out there. Check them out at lanefinder.com. It's a sad fact in trucking these days that the majority of owner-operators and lease operators out there have high truck payments. This is going to be a tough year for you people to survive. If you're in trucking for the long haul, why not give the truck back and live to fight another day, go get a good company job? If you're a lease operator in this market, hopefully you're not signed into a contract with a carrier that does not have a good escape clause for you. All sorts of these leasing carriers like to take drivers right to the very last dollar, then take the truck away from them, give it to another lease owner-operator wannabe, and the original guy that had the truck leased goes broke. So hopefully you don't find yourself in that situation. There is no shame in giving the truck back and going on to find a good company driver job. There is shame if the company or the bank or the carrier comes and repos the truck and leaves you broke. You don't want to find yourself in that situation. Sadly, a big part of owning a truck is math. And I hear you groan, but that's the simple fact of it. It's easy math, but it's math you've got to pay attention to. So if you're not dragging in enough money to cover the truck payment, plus your bills, plus support your family, plus maintain the truck, if you're in a break-even or losing situation, there's really no point in carrying on. You don't want to get further and further down the rabbit's hole. Give the truck back and live to prosper another day. Trucking is a give and take, and some years are just not worth owning your own truck. It's a simple truth. If it's not paid for, it's better to give it back than to lose it. If you follow this channel for any length of time, you already know that I do not like leasing trucks from carriers. If you're new to this channel, watch this video and you'll understand my reasons as to why I don't think you should lease a truck from a carrier. If you're an owner-operator that's been living off the spot market the last few years, you're in serious trouble. If you haven't got your own direct customers by now, if you're living off load brokers, you're in serious trouble this year. The spot market rate and the low brokers are in the toilet. You can't survive at $1.49 a mile or whatever it is they're paying. That was the average quoted to me the other day. So if you've been with the spot market, you might as well just give the truck back right now, because it's just going to happen by the end of the year anyway. I'm sure that it can be tough to give a truck back, and it might feel like defeat, but it is not defeat. It is you recognizing the market, parking the truck, giving it back, and living to go trucking another day, because survival is the whole point in trucking. It always has been and it always will be. There will be tough times, there will be good times. 2023 is a tough time. If you've done your math and it's not working for you, give the truck back. I've got a particular story that comes to mind when I think back a number of years ago. We all knew this guy. He thought he was a big strapper. He had big fancy equipment, but he really didn't understand the market. He had huge high truck payments and he would just run and run and run, but he was hauling cheap freight. Now this is before the days of the electronic log, so he could run as much as he wanted, but no matter how much he ran, he was getting behind because his costs were higher than what he was making off the freight. So he kept thinking that the more he ran, that he'd be able to bail himself out of trouble. He just got further and further in the hole. He got so far in the hole that he thought, well, he can't afford to go home because then the bank might grab the truck if they saw the truck at his house. So he quit going home and just lived on the road. Eventually his wife got a hold of him and said, you know, you're not coming home, there's no money coming in, I'm leaving you. So he went home just to get his stuff out of the house before they took the house. The bank saw the truck, repoed the truck anyway, and this guy just lost the whole truck and then went broke. He turned out to be the fool we already knew that he was, and it was all because he wouldn't do the math. He kept running and running, but wouldn't do the math. Stay safe, keep the rubber side down, watch your numbers, and I'll see you on the backhaul.